Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well. So, I'm going to start off by saying if you're the sensitive type, you may not want to watch this show today. We have a lot of information. We're going to be calling out a bunch of scams, things that are happening, and it's going to be pretty hardcore. Matter of fact, Roxzilla, yes, we're going to be talking about the Seth Lutz, the gentleman in Florida who went through and scammed a whole bunch of people. Initially, the media had stated, or they're looking at it probably being, tens of thousands of dollars. Last check, it's up around $300,000. But not only are we going to be looking at some of the situations that are happening within, like the opportunities where people can rip you off, we're also going to be talking about some channels that in the community, a lot of people may not agree with, that give bad information on a consistent basis. This is not meant to belittle anyone in particular. It is meant to just be what it is. So if you're sensitive about it, leave now. Okay, just saying it. This is not meant to be easy. So I just want you guys to be aware of what's happening. So my panel consists of a bunch of people you know. So I'm going to pull these folks up. Obviously, we have regulars. We have Paula from Livecoin QA. We have Eric, and we have Chuck from Copper Coins. Good day, folks. How are you?
Good morning.
Day. Hola.
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 Yeah, for those thick-skinned folks, hit the like button. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this first one really quick, and I'm going to just kind of go over what happened. So for those of you who don't know, if you've seen the thumbnail, the gentleman on there, his name is Seth Lutz, and he operated something called Steve's Best Coins. Now, he was total scam artist. He was described as a person who was fast talking. He described as a person who was really good at convincing people to do things like shell over information. And, oh, by the way, we're the best source of information for you. We're the best, right? So you'll hear this later on as we talk about some of the other channels that are going to be listed in this. But one of the things that he was really good at is taking a person's no and manipulating it back into a yes. And so at this most recent one with this recent sting, he actually had gold coins on the table. They were testing them. People were allowed to ping test them. People were allowed to do all that. They were allowed to take one of them. It's like, look, here, we're going to put a deposit down. If you want to take one of these, you're more than welcome to. But, it's $10,000 for coins, considering a gold ounce coin is $2,800. So, $10,000, $12,000, whatever that would be for the 4 coins. And then he would take the order, and then excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse would happen, and the people would never get their money. There are also other scams tied to this person. Again, looking at some of the things that happened in 2024, where he was arrested in Manatee County, where he scammed people out of $65,000. He had already done a stint in jail regarding this particular item. And so this is something that is, it's a historical thing. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this for 2 reasons. One, the stuff that we're going to be going over today, there's a lot of people in here who are not going to like it. But if there is a history of malfeasance, there is a history of manipulation of the facts, there is a manipulation and a twisting of the coins or money or manipulation of people in order to get something, we're going to be talking about this today. So I wanted just to kind of go over some of the stuff that happened. Again, when we're talking about this Ron Lutz dude, again, $220,000 prior to 2024, $300,000 within the last few months, 2025, tens of thousands of dollars in this last one. This guy was a real crook. But again, misinformation and people scamming it isn't only out there in pawn shops and in flea markets. It also happens within the coin community as a whole. And I'm not talking specifically about anybody. We'll get into that here in just a second. So I'm going to open up discussion to the rest of the group. First, I want to talk about this particular case. Any insights or anything you guys have with the knowledge of Caveot Emptor, right? Buyer beware. So what are you guys' thought on this case?
Well, it's not the first time he's done it. He should go to jail for a long time. It sounds like he's done it under another name. According to the Fox 13 article that I just read, they just can't link it to him because he's legally changed his first name. So.
Well, so are these people like going to his shop or whatever and he doesn't have,
he's pre-selling.
So he doesn't have the product in hand?
Right.
He doesn't have the product in hand. He's just promising.
Well, in some cases, he does have product in hand.
And some of these people have bought from him multiple times, and he's always came through, and then he just doesn't come through at the end.
Yeah, so he'll do like, so let's say that you want to buy a gold coin. You can buy the gold coin. It's good. He builds the relationship up. Hey, I'm thinking about buying more. Okay, well, hey, I'll have a couple next week. Come buy those two, not a problem. Hey, I really want to get 10 ounces of gold. Outstanding. Let me see what I can give you. Okay, I can get you, $2,800 per ounce. It's, only $50 over spot or $60 over spot or whatever it is. Makes a good deal. We'll give them one coin and then take the order for the other 9, takes their $30,000 and then disappears and basically never
he probably says, results. I'm going to lock you in at today's rate too. So if it goes up, you're only paying $2,800 or whatever.
I'm not sure that there's really a way you can 100% protect yourself from somebody like that. If somebody is like determined to scam you and they're really good at it and been doing it for a long time, other than like, I don't know. I guess my thing would be don't buy from somebody that's not an A&A member.
My thing would be don't pay for anything that you don't get.
Yeah, don't buy anything that you
can't. Yeah, it's a good one. Yep.
I'll buy it from you when you have the gold.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard like the way on like social media, if you're buying from people on social media, because you're paying and then you're expecting them to ship it to you, right? But if and there you can, I think that people have enough of a reputation that you kind of know, pick 1 or 2 people that you trust and just stick with them.
Right.
Like I know that there are people that buy from Chuck all the time. And if they want, he's probably their only main, if not only person they buy from. So find 1 or 2 people that you trust. And stick with them. I don't know. Yeah, it's sad when this happens because this guy obviously has been doing it a long time or was doing it a long time. At least he got busted, but.
Hey, Kane's Coins is in the house. He's the one that sent me this article. So I want to thank him for that. Ironically, the article was perfect for the discussion that was going to be had today. I'm going to put in chat. This is something I want you guys, and I know if you're in the vertical stream, you're going to have a hard time seeing this. But what I want you guys to do is I want you to save this link. You don't have to look at it right now. Just save this link. This is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Now, why is this important? Well, because a lot of the community is older. And you have investment funds, you have investment portfolios, and these are things that are done in order to protect you. They give you kind of what the fraud is, what the layout, how they set you up, some of the things you need to be looking for. It's a really good site. There's a number of different things. This particular one talks about precious metals. It also can be applied to numismatic coins. But again, it's protecting yourself. So one of the other things that is really important outside of making sure you guys have resources, I'll connect you with an FBI resource as Chuck is talking here in just a moment. So I'll be dropping various links, and I'll also be putting these in the chat. Yeah, Seth Lutz is his name. I think he went by another name, Panu, I believe, but they can't tie it back to him. That's what Eric was talking about with him legally changing his name.
Scary.
But I'm going to provide more information on sites that you can go to on scams that are out there, and I'm going to be providing that in the description below. But while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Chuck Daughtry of Copper Coins. And again, folks, if you are not thick-skinned, you're going to be hearing some stuff that you may not like. So I want you guys to understand.
Maybe some people that you do like. Maybe some people that you do like.
So there's a definite reason behind it. And again, if you don't like the conversation, don't be ignorant. Just leave. Okay. We need to be adults here. So as we go through this stuff, there's going to be people you're like, absolutely, they're scams. There's going to be other people. It's like, well, I like that person. That's fine. We're going to be talking about a wide swath of people. I'm just going to ask you right now. Okay. Be respectful. If somebody gets, excuse the expression, Paula, I know how much you love this word. If somebody gets obtuse, I will give you a warning. The second time I will remove you. I don't care if you're my friend. I don't care if you're a member. Be integrity, calm, collective conversation is the order for today. I will only give one warning.
He's not calling these people bad people. He's just saying they're giving misinformation.
Yeah, well, yes, I understand, but this is, yeah. So, yeah. But again, I just want everybody to be very clear of the intent of today's conversation. I do not want anybody to be ignorant in chat. If you don't like what I'm saying, you're more than welcome to leave or just observe. EMR coins, perfect. Yep, he said the exact same thing, observe. I just want you guys to be aware because you guys are going to hear names that of people you like. And so just FYI, okay? Chuck, the floor is yours, brother.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. Thanks for having me here. The first thing I'm going to mention is a little bit of my own history. I have a long history in coins, goes back to the 1970s. I've been learning about die varieties and about Lincoln cents on my own and through books and other resources for 40 years, 45 years. Been doing this a long time. One thing I don't do, and one thing I really haven't ever done, is become very involved with other people's channels on YouTube. I don't know very many of the people because I don't watch them because they frankly upset me. I've done many years of making videos or trying to educate people through the internet, through Facebook and other channels. And I have ignored more or less the entire YouTube community because I was upset by what I was seeing. And rather than ignore it like I generally do, I decided over the last week, because I knew I was going to be on this show, to start watching different shows, different recordings on YouTube that were basic to the era coin market or eras and varieties. So I was a little bit misled at first in going through some of this by bad terminology or real simple mistakes that people make. So I'm first going to go through some of the things that I see as a very common thing in the market overall that are mistakes or misnomers that I wish would stop. First of all, I'll hit the biggest one first. PCGS slabs. PCGS slabs in the extremely fine grade. People calling it extra fine. The grade is not extra fine, never has been. and probably never will be. PCGS using XF as their grade instead of the commonly accepted EF from the Sheldon scale and the ANA grading scale is, I think, a bad one on them. They claim it's their own scale. I get that. I understand it. Then why match every other grade to the ANA grade, and their XF grade is all by itself out there as its own misnomer, I would call it. XF encourages people to use the word extra or XF fine or XF, and it isn't. It's EF. Extremely fine, extremely starts with an E. Thank you very much. Now, the second one, PCGS on a very common basis puts mint error on coins that are die varieties. Technically, die varieties are not error coins. There you go. Extremely fine. It does say that you can have it as XF or XF. And this is, what is this? PCGS's website? I don't know whose website this is.
No, this is Coin Identifier. It's, I like, they use the old Sheldon scale, so I like the way that they use this.
But don't they specifically call it XF? Yeah, XF 40 to XF 45. Incorrect. It's EF. By the ANA scale, the American Numismatic Association, the national coin club that we've been using for so long. What guy seems so angry? I'm not angry. I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to be very specific about my terminology and about what I say. The reason for this is because misusing terminology tends to confuse people. It educates people in the wrong direction, and it gets them calling things that are not correct. And so to save you, or to save the overall community from seeming like they don't have a clue what they're doing or what they're talking about, let's try to group this back together and bring our terminology back to where it belongs. Everybody uses the same language. The same language being that language that was developed by the people who initially developed these markets to begin with, and not the people who jump in and decide they know more than the people who originally made these definitions. Mint error, to describe a double die, grates at my skin like a chalkboard, running your fingernails down a chalkboard. Mint errors are very simply explained as problems that occurred during the minting process. Making the dies does not necessarily work in that. Here's what does. The mint errors, as Alan Herbert would have explained it many years ago, fall into three categories: planchet, die, and strike. Planchet errors such as split planchets, incorrect planchets, clipped planchets, incomplete planchets, incomplete clips, things like that are all during the planchet making process. And so you have planchet errors. Then you have die errors. Die errors occur to the die during the time that striking is occurring. So you've got clashes, you've got cracks, you've got chips, you've got broken dies. Anything that occurs as a method of die failure during the process that the die is striking coins. And then you have striking errors. Striking errors are things that happen because the machine is not set properly. You've got misaligned dies, you've got off-center coins, you've got saddle strikes, you've got incomplete strikes, brockages, indents, all kinds of things like that. In none of this is included die varieties such as double dies, repunch mint marks, over mint marks, repunch dates. Those all have to do with the specific manufacturer of the die itself. Die varieties are generally explained as some form of doubling on the die that makes the coins. Every single coin struck by those dies has that die variety. Why is it specific to be different from errors? Because it's a different market altogether. You've got a lot of people who are interested in errors that have no interest in die varieties. You've got people who have interest in die varieties that have no interest in errors. They are two separate things. They should remain separate. And PCGS placing mint error on a double die on their slabs glues together something that should not be glued together. Okay, again, just a matter of terminology. Terminology, double die versus doubled die. What we're describing are coins that are struck with a die that has a doubled design. So it's not a double die. You're not using two different dies to manufacture these coins, as some people believe because of the terminology they're using. Doubled die is the proper term because the die is actually doubled. The design is doubled on the die, and that occurred prior to the die ever being hung on a machine to make a coin. Variety versus error. I've already said my piece about that. Varieties are one thing, errors are something completely different. You've got the term die variety in itself has two completely different meanings. If you're collecting coins such as bust dollars or bust quarters or large cents, a die variety is specific to the die that created the die pair that created the coin. It doesn't matter if it has doubling or anything else. They call those die varieties. Die variety Overton number blah or Sheldon number blah is a simple die marriage registry that the collectors of said coins call those die varieties. If you're talking about 20th century coins, a die variety, of course, is doubling on the coin based on doubling that was on the die when the die was created. Other terms, struck through versus strike through. It's struck through. Struck through is the proper term. Strike through is a present tense. It's not still being struck. So you don't call it a strike through. People using attribute versus attribute, two different parts of speech. Attribute is a noun, attribute is a verb. If you're going to look at a coin and determine what it is, you are attributing the coin. What you're looking at on the coin are the attributes that you use to attribute the coin. Pretty simple. Machine doubling versus mechanical doubling. I do not accept the term mechanical doubling as correct, although some other people do. A number of other people do. Mechanical doubling just seems really, really loaded down with letters and with syllables that don't need to be there. Machine doubling is fine. What different kinds of machine doubling there are? Machine doubling is essentially non-collectible doubling, or the doubling that doesn't have value. It's caused while the coins are being struck, and it's a very different thing than doubled dies, and needs to be understood as something very different from doubled dies. Using the word cent versus using the word penny. Yes, officially pennies are British 1/12 of a shilling pieces, and cent is a 1/100th of a dollar piece. We use cents. We don't use pennies. But if you look at rolls of coins, like this one right here, what does that say on it? It says pennies. Okay. Every roll that I have in here, thousands and thousands of them, say pennies on them. Why would I insist that you call them cents versus calling them pennies? Because the colloquial term used by almost every American is pennies.
And that doesn't make sense.
Right. Exactly. That doesn't make sense. Canadians generally call them coppers, or they'll call them pennies, or they'll call them cents. The British don't call their coins cents because they simply aren't. So, well, they are now, but they weren't back in the day when they were created. Up until 1967, British cents were 1/12 of a shilling. Now they're 1/100th of a sterling, pound sterling. So they are cents now, I guess.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It was originally a pfennig, right?
Pfennig is another word. Pfennig or Fedig is another word used. It's a German word, and that is also 1/100th of a base, whatever that base might be. The German mark, the Austrian shilling, they use pfennigs or pennies. Finland also uses pennies. The pronunciation is penya. So let's see.
Chuck, real quick, I want to capitalize on something Paula said. Yeah, again, folks, the information that he's given, I hope you guys understand this isn't just a little rant about Chuck's pet peeves. This isn't a comedy stunt on terminology. This is actual information. Like, this is stuff you guys need to know, because if you're really serious about the hobby, really trying to protect the hobby, understand what's going on, these things matter. So again, Paula, thank you for putting that in chat. I appreciate that. But again, please listen to what he's being said. Go back and listen to some of these things. Take some time, ingest it. He'll talk about more things on here, but again, I just want to thank you for doing this, Chuck. I really appreciate it.
Can I point one other thing out too, Frostbyte?
Absolutely.
And I don't mean this as like a blanket statement. So there's probably going to be exceptions to this, but generally, if you learn the correct terminology, oftentimes you can avoid problems like buying from people who don't know what they're talking about, because you will be able to identify if they're not using the correct terminology. If they're trying to sell you a double die as opposed to a doubled die, then you may question whether that is actually what they're selling you. So this is valuable information to help you guys also protect yourselves, knowing that you are buying from people who know what they're talking about. So keep that in mind too. Anyway,
and
carry on.
also, I would be very remiss to think that going through this quickly and in this little bit of time is going to stick. You need to go back and watch this again and again until you get every one of these terms down, because these are correct terms. They are the correct terminology to use. This is stuff that I have been dealing with for over 40 years. I have seen people using incorrect terms. I have seen companies, I've seen dealers, websites, videos using improper terms. And I would like to see it all cleaned up. That's going to be a really difficult thing to do, because there's so many people who will not listen and who insist that they're correct, even though they are not. I did not
care, and don't care as much as we do too, Chuck. There are people that just don't care as much as we do too. So.
I did not coin any of these terms. Haha. I did not create any of this. I am merely reflecting what I have learned over many, many years, watching the true numismatic gods, the people who initially created this market and who initially came up with all these terms. And I'm only repeating what I have seen in the past. There's only one numismatic term that I have ever coined and created on my own, and it was almost by mistake, and that was the class 9 double die, which some people don't still recognize, but it is different from the other 8 classes. So anyhow, we'll get into that in a different show. Counterfeit versus altered coins is my next one. Counterfeit is a coin that never was a coin. It was fake when it was made, and it's going to be fake tomorrow and the next day and the next day. The altered coin is a different thing altogether, where you take a 1914 Lincoln cent and you add a D to it, or you take a 1944 D Lincoln cent and you carve one of the 4s into a 1 to make it look like a 1914 D. That is an altered coin. The difference between these is very big when you talk about the Secret Service and about the legality of such. While it is legal to create your own 14D out of a 1944D, it is illegal to sell it as a 1914D, whereas selling counterfeit coins that are not clearly marked is illegal no matter what. Creating them is illegal no matter what, unless you are specific to making sure that they are marked as counterfeit or copy coins. So counterfeit and altered, different things, completely different things. The general majority of people who are very purist about what they do like to tell you that, well, you shouldn't necessarily collect those because they don't have any value, or you shouldn't collect these because there's no market in this. They're only doing that out of their own opinion, out of their own thought, out of their heart. They're trying to lead you in the right direction. They're not trying to tell you what not to collect. You collect whatever you want to collect. If you like to collect coins that have magic marker writing on them just because, then you do that. Don't plan on being able to sell them. Don't plan on being able to find a market for them, because We generally deal in educating on the coins that have a market behind them, that have a reason for everyone to want to pay attention. If you like collecting coins that are bent just because you like the look of a bent coin, you go ahead. If you like the ones that have been shot with a shotgun, you go right ahead. That's what you want to do. It's fine with us. Don't plan on finding a market for them. That's where we say you shouldn't collect these. If you want to make money, if you want to pass down something in your family or to somebody else that has some value to other people, then don't do this, because this is not something that's going to find itself a market just because you have some of them.
Chuck, if I can add something to this,
Yeah.
Paul and I have talked about this a number of times on this channel. You've heard Chuck talk about it on his channel. You've heard Eric talk about it. You've also heard Livecoin Q&A talk about it. A lot of people say, well, I like this, so it's fine. Remember, folks, that eventually it's going to end up in the community. So it doesn't matter if you buy and you like a coin. It can be counterfeit, it can be in a slab, whatever, just because you like it. Remember that if it's not marked properly, it will end up back in the community. So you have to keep those things in mind and make sure, like Chuck said, it's very important. Because if you don't, a lot of people are like, well, it's me right now. You got to think about where this coin's going to end up. Counterfeit, fake, again, machine doubling, sold as a double die or a double die, right? Again, all of these things going to end up back in the community, and it's going to have an effect on one or two things. Number one, you're going to look like an idiot when you try to sell it, or your kids are going to look like an idiot, or your spouse is going to look like an idiot when they go to the coin shop and say, look at all these double dies and it's all mechanical doubling. Or you take a bunch of counterfeit coins that you spent thousands and thousands of dollars on because you like them, and they end up being of no value to anybody later on. So it's very important. Again, all the information that Chuck is saying is extremely important. So I just wanted to add a little bit there. Not that you have missed anything, Chuck. I just want to, again, lowest common denominator. Remember that it doesn't matter if you like it or not. Eventually, it will be in the community.
Right. Absolutely. That's why clearly marking what you've got, so that your heirs, or so that other people or whomever buys your collection will know why you saved that or what it is. I save coins that I find laying on the ground in places that I go that are important to me, like vacations and things like that. They don't have any value to anyone else, but I collect them anyway. I'm not going to tell people that they're worth money. I'm not going to put a bunch of dollar signs on the holders. I clearly mark them for what they are, and I collect them. Simple. And that's what you should do with the coins that you collect. Clearly mark them, explain them where you can, make it like your own book about your collection, about what you've collected, why you collected them, what kind of value they have. That's going to help people along the route when they buy your collection. Remember, life is temporary. We're not going to be here forever. Those coins are going to be here a lot longer than we are. So help the next person along. Educate them with what you're learning. That's all I got to say about that. Now, this next little section I'm going to talk about is going to be specific shows that I watched and specific problems that I saw in those shows.
Hey, Chuck, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you go there, I would like you to do something. We talked about this before. You may have it handy, you may not. If you think you have multiples of a rarity, like you think you have 4 1943 copper cents, there's a very high likelihood that it's not what you think it is. Chuck has done something, and I've seen this before, and I don't know where I found it. I've tried to find it, haven't been able to find it again. I think it was in a video where you calculated the likelihood of somebody having a 1982 small date, and it ended up 1 in like 10 to the 26th or something like that. It was an ungodly freaking number.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's
try to avoid using the term rare.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, there's roughly 135 billion Lincoln cents in circulation at any one time. Roughly 135 billion in circulation at any one time. Think about that number. Okay, that's a huge number. There have been a total of, I believe, 3 1982D small date copper cents found out of 135 billion. Now, this isn't trying to discourage you from looking for them, but I highly discourage you from spending all of your time focusing on that one issue. I highly discourage you from thinking that you have found a half dozen of them and you're going to get them slabbed and buy your own private helicopter and live forever without working.
And for God's sake, please don't announce your find to the entire world.
Right, because
until you have verified that it is what you think it is.
the more people you jump off the cliff for, the more people are just going to watch you.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's not going to be pretty in the end, because you won't get credit for doing something wonderful. Yeah, your chances are, Hugh has it right. Your chances of hitting the Powerball lottery are approximately 292 million to 1. Your chances are better of winning the Powerball 2 weeks in a row than finding one of those 1982D small date copper cents. I guarantee it. Your chances are higher of winning the Powerball 2 weeks in a row. That's the odds of that are in the billions.
I will find the video where you actually did the math on that.
It's in the 1982 large and small date video that I did. Probably one of the.
I'll pull that up on your channel and I'll post that in chat. The reason that I wanted to interrupt you and do that is because the misinformation regarding what you can find in your pocket change is why many of these channels that he's about to talk about exist. It's the manipulation, it's the FOMO, it's the opportunity to sell, it's, getting likes on your channel. The real intent of what's happening right now, the conversation that he's about to have right now, is being aware of the misinformation that is out there. It's not to degrade anybody's channel specifically. In some cases, we're going to do that just because we know that. A great example of that is Coins of Rosie. We talk about this all the time. When they show a 1972 Lincoln cent and they're talking about a 1955 double die, this is AI generated. They don't verify, they don't validate, and they've got hundreds of thousands of followers. And as Paula talked about a couple weeks ago, a big number sometimes insinuates knowledge. So that doesn't necessarily always attest to truth. Sometimes it does, but more times than not, it just means they know how to market. They're good with their tongue. They know how to spin a yarn, kind of like I do with jokes. So again, the information that's coming out, I just wanted you to understand. This is why I interrupted him and talked about that. So I apologize for that, Chuck, but I felt that it was important.
This is a group show. This isn't my show. I do want to let you know, however, most of these people that I'm about to mention, I've never watched them before. I don't know who they are. I haven't ever known them. I'm not in anybody's fan club, and I'm definitely not going to be in anybody's fan club after today. But I am merely bringing out things to let you know that there is misinformation, there's clickbait, and there are other things that are either non-directly or directly confusing, that being by intent. They're either mischievously confusing, or they're confusing because the person honestly does not know the difference or what they're talking about, and they're creating a video on that information just to be able to up their numbers, to be able to get their monetization up and earn a little bit more money. Got it. That's most of what this is. It's not somebody trying to steer you wrong. It's not somebody trying to tell you something to get you to buy something from them that isn't real or isn't right. They're just misinformed, and then they're conversely misinforming you in their videos because they're publishing something that they don't really understand as well as they should in order to publish a video. You have to realize the internet in large form is free publication. These people aren't famous. I'm not famous. I'm not some movie star that makes millions of dollars to tell you what I'm telling you. I don't make anything to tell you what I'm telling you. I'm telling you this because I am very passionate about the numismatic hobby, And I'm very passionate about making sure that the information I give you is correct. If I don't know the answer, I either find it for you or I shut my mouth and let somebody else answer. So with that being said, first I'm going to bring out is a channel that is called Variety and Errors on YouTube. The gentleman's name is Kyle, who comes on and tells you about his double die errors and this double die error. And he calls them errors throughout his videos. And that just, it grates on my nerves, but it doesn't bother a lot of people. I'm going to say the majority, it doesn't bother. But for me, I have a little bit of an issue with someone teaching other people, especially on a channel called Variety and Errors, that they've got double die errors. Hey, another one. I found a video done by Couch Collectibles, who they have a lot of videos on that channel that are kind of the lead screen, the thumbnail screen is a bit misleading as to exactly what the video is going to end up showing you.
Absolutely free,
and that's called clickbait. When you give somebody one thing to look at so that they'll come and look at something else, that something else that they're looking at, if it doesn't match what they initially said in their thumbnail, then that's clickbait. They're just trying to get you to click it to come look at it.
So I want to interrupt you here because there's something that YouTube has just announced in 2025, and it's very important. A lot of these people are going to find out that they're going to get a lot of these videos struck. YouTube is starting this out in India. What they're doing is they are actually comparing your thumbnail generation, the information within your title with the information in the video. And if they determine that it is clickbait, they're going to strike it and have it removed. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take for this to roll out into the US. They're going to initiate it because of major problems that are happening with this in various markets. But right now, they are testing this feature. They are testing this opportunity to remove data. They will pull your video straight down. They're not asking you.
Well, here's my question for you, Frostbyte. Are they using AI to determine this? Because if they are, it will do nothing. It will do absolutely nothing. The good videos will be taken down and the bad videos will stay up.
Yeah, right. I can't tell you because it's the test markets India right now, so I don't know the information on how it's exactly going to happen.
AI and coins is like,
but you can go to YouTube, type in their policies, their new advents for 2025, talk about the things that they're doing, and they'll list out. They talk about the details, stuff to do, and they say there's more information coming out. But they are targeting this specifically because of misinformation. They know it's rampant, and they're trying to do something about it. Will it be in place like soon? Probably not. It's going to take quite a while before that happens, but it's important that you guys are aware that YouTube is aware of the situation and they're trying to do what they can to rectify it. So anyway, FYI.
Okay, so back to the misinformation by creating thumbnails that excite you just to watch a video that doesn't. I find that there are a number of people guilty of it. However, Couch Collectibles seems to be one of them just by what I've seen, what I'm looking at. I watched one of his videos by searching error coins on YouTube, and this is what came up. These are like the first 5 or 6, 7 videos. I spent most of the week looking at these and going through them with a fine-tooth comb, not to press on these people, but to tell you, you have to watch what you're watching. Does that make sense? You have to watch what you're watching. In this video, he finds a coin dealer by the name of Brad of Coins Plus from Cincinnati. I'm not sure if that's the same Brad that we were talking about earlier, but Brad in this video is knowledgeable.
It is.
Okay.
It is the same one. Yes.
Okay. Brad is a knowledgeable person. Brad knows his stuff. Brad knows what is and what isn't. Brad is very realistic about what he says. However, he's also very discouraging in telling you that you don't bother looking through pocket change. You don't bother looking through coins trying to find that diamond in the rough. that if you think you have found that diamond in the rough, then you need to contact the people who tell you that you can find them. I'm here to tell you right now, you can find a 1969S double die out there. There are some of them out there. I don't know where they are, but I'm not going to tell you it's easy. They're extremely rare. They're extremely difficult to find. But who am I to say, don't spend your time looking for it? Because that's not my say. I don't have anything to say on that. I'm going to tell you, your chances are very, very low of finding one. But I'm going to give you the information that you need to be able to find such coins, just in case you happen to run across one. You need to know what they look like. You need to know how to detect what you're looking for. And if you're searching rolls of coins, whether it be BU older rolls or put in the same catalog as Frostbyte, I'm not really sure I understand that, but I like the statement, I think. Because I like Frosty. I like being in the same category as Frosty because Frosty knows what he's doing. This brag guy seems to tell you, don't bother looking for errors. Don't bother looking for varieties in change because you'll never find them. And all you're doing is wasting your time, and you're wasting the time of everyone you ask about them. Well, that's a very encouraging way to get people to get into the numismatic hobby. You tell them exactly what they should do. Probably he wants you to buy what he has and not just buy what you want. Anyhow, I found that to be a disturbing video. Next is a channel called Ravenhawk Coins. Whomever the gentleman is on Ravenhawk, he is passionate about what he does. And I enjoyed seeing him show you his collection. This specific video was him showing you his double dies and RPMs, but he calls them his error collection. And that's just kind of disturbing because of the lack of proper terminology. However, it was the end of the video that really grabbed me. He actually shows a very, very nice, very, very thick, broad-struck Lincoln cent and tells you that this is a vice job, that it wasn't created by the mint this way, that he bought it because he wanted to use it as an educational tool to show you what a vice job looks like. Now we're talking about a Lincoln cent that has a very, very nice broad struck.
Hey, Chuck, did you happen to scroll down the comments of that video?
No, I didn't. Why? Did you respond to it?
You may have seen somebody that you recognized.
Okay. Well, it's very disturbing that someone comes on to educate you about something and shows you something that is indeed a magical coin and tells you it's junk. I mean, really? Come on. I don't know. Another one, the Coin Channel Tube. Now, this guy usually does the shorts, the like Facebook shorts and the little short videos. Most of his stuff is clickbaitish. He is talking about very, very unusual things that happened, such as sales for a 2024 coin on eBay for $40 because it doesn't have designer's initials on the shoulder. These kinds of things are the outlier and not the rule. They're not generally going to be worth that kind of money, but he tells you, look through your pocket change, because if you can find a 2024 with no initials on the shoulder, you can sell it for $40 on eBay. Yeah, I say horse crap. But anyway, that's all clickbaitish sort of information that isn't really good information, because he's using the unknowledged outliers on eBay and the market that develops because buyers and sellers are, I'm going to use the word because it does mean this, they're ignorant of the situation and are going to throw themselves at anything to try to make it stick. Ignorant is not a bad word in the United States. In the United States, it simply means you don't know about a subject. I know ignorant is a really bad word in Canada, and I'm apologetic to the Canadians for that, but I'm an American and I'm going to use the American term. Now, the last one I'm going to discuss is the last one that I actually watched, is Coin Help You. Coin Help You channel. A gentleman by the name of Daniel Malone. He's a coin dealer. somewhere up north of here. I'm in North Carolina. I don't know where he is exactly. I think he's in Ohio. He put out a video that says you're setting yourself up for failure if you don't watch this. And he is touting his video as being the video that you have to watch if you don't want to make mistakes in searching coins. How much more egocentric can you be? Telling people that if you don't watch my video, you're going to fail. Okay. Well, he throws out all kinds of generalizations about collecting varieties and the overall market, and says no one can really help you online regarding the 1982 Lincoln cents. That is hogwash, because I help people constantly with that. I think what he's trying to tell you is that you absolutely have to weigh the coins, that you can't tell the difference between them looking at photos of them. That is completely false. Most of the zinc cents from 1982 have little bubbles in them, and none of the copper coins do. So if you see little bubbles on the coin, or plating, splitting, or anything like that, then you definitely have a zinc coin. And I can tell you that pretty much in a heartbeat when I see a good photo of a 1982 Lincoln cent. So don't say nobody online can help you. I can. And a lot of other people can. Also says, and this is a statement that this one just barks up my wrong tree, but anyhow, he says, no older coins can be the first variety found, or the discovery coin. Only new coins can provide discovery coins, because they are new coins, and you can only find discovery coins in new coins. And I think what he's trying to say is no one's going to find a major double die that's 50 years old because it's 50 years old. That only 2023, 2024 coins, you could find a major double die and call it a new discovery, which I still disagree with that. If anybody might know or might not know, about 20 years ago, there was a brand new discovery of a major 1982 Lincoln cent double die reverse that is almost naked eye visible. And it was discovered by a collector in Massachusetts who just happened to be going through pocket change. And this was found in, I'm going to say 2005, 2006, many, many years after the 82 was made. No more than 5 years ago, I believe it was about 5 years ago, there was a major double die obverse found on a 1919S Mercury dime. First one ever found. 1919S, we're talking about nearly 100 years after the coin was made. So yeah, don't tell me that you can't find new, unknown, major die varieties on coins that are 100 years old. It just doesn't happen. But anyway, those are all the ones that I've watched. I can tell you that there are many other people who do basically the same thing. I am on a campaign to create as many videos as I can on educating people the right way about coins, not trying to lead people in a wrong direction. I'm not trying to keep you from watching other people's channels. You do exactly what you want to do. All I'm doing is making positively sure that I'm giving you good information in my videos. So you're welcome to come to the channel. You're welcome to subscribe to the channel. You're welcome to watch the channel. It's Copper Coins on YouTube. I have created 2 videos in the last 2 days. I'm creating another video today after this show. I'm going to be creating a video just about every day for a long time to come, because I've got all my equipment all situated and everything, and it works perfectly. And I'm going to jump while I'm froggy. But anyway, that's all I've got to say. I'll answer anybody's question, or I will field any comments that you may have at this time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Chuck. So again, the intent of this, and I've seen some of the comments, so I want to kind of rebut some of the things that are being said in there. Number one is I'm sorry if you're upset, but some of this stuff needed to be discussed. Now, Kevin asked a question. Are you guys kind of doing the same thing? What we're trying to say is, number one, we're not touting ourselves as experts. It's important for people to understand that what we do here, that the four of us that are sitting here, as well as other people that I will frequently call out: Joe Cronin, Jack Riley, Jack Young. Paula's got a bunch of them. I'm kind of going blank, but there are people who are considered the expert. Okay. My problem with some of the stuff that's out there is its intent. It's one thing if somebody really wants to learn. Now, I did this at the very beginning, and you can ask Paula. I would say something, and she would come back and she would say, that's not quite right. I would take down the video. I would issue an apology. I would create a new video with the right information. I didn't care if I lost subs or if I lost views. I would pull down the incorrect information. I still do that to this day. Ask Paula. There's a video that I worked my butt off to try to create, and she's like, you just said it wrong. I still haven't published that because I have to figure out exactly how to get that worded correctly so it says exactly what it's supposed to be. Does that make me the person that you need to come to? No, I'm not the person you need to come to for all these things. But what I want to be is I want to be a person who generates connections for you, a network of people who love and care about this hobby and want to protect you as the collector, you as the investor, you as the stacker, you as the mother and father, you as the grandparent, from getting scammed or from getting taken, from getting manipulated. And so the reason that we had this discussion today, the reason, and Chuck and I talked about this for a couple weeks, right? 2-3 weeks or so, trying to find good time and wanted to get through the holidays. And we just felt it's important. Paula and I and Eric, you should hear some of the conversations that we have prior to going live. Every day that we go live, we talk about this stuff all the time, and it's for your protection. And so if you guys look at this, it's like, we're not tagging the people. We're not saying that these people are bad people. It's just question their intent. Okay. When you watch something, watch critical, ask questions. And say, does this make sense? Does what I'm seeing match what's being stated? Okay. If what they're showing you doesn't match what they're saying you, then find some other stuff. Find another way to ask. Find somebody else to ask. Validate and verify. We talked about at the very beginning of the episode, we talked about the gentleman who manipulated and twisted people. Fast talkers. There's a bunch of them, right? There's a lot of people who are skilled at talking and turning a phrase and being able to provide fluff to something to make you think you got. But as Paula stated in the beginning, learning this terminology, understanding this terminology is crucial to your protection. Now, Chuck issued a whole bunch of stuff. There was no way I could keep up. I couldn't pull up the sites fast enough. I couldn't pull up the definitions fast enough. There's so much of it. I really want you to go back. Now, I'm not saying, okay, this is the definitive video. Go look at it. I just want you guys to be aware that this stuff is out there. And I want to thank Chuck for having the cojones to say some really hard stuff, to do something which is take his time. Folks, this is a busy man. He took time out of his week to research and find this stuff to ensure. I have, Coach. We'll talk about that here in just a second.
I'm writing these down.
Say again?
As I see these come across, I'm writing them down so we can respond to them.
Yeah, and so, but again, I want to thank Chuck. Chuck took a lot of time to go through, to watch a bunch of videos, to look at a lot of information, check out a bunch of channels. I gave him 2 or 3. He did the rest on his own and just blew up. I mean, he found great examples and went through various sources and gave a good analysis of just a few. But folks, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these sites out there. Okay.
Well over 75%.
Yeah. So I'm not stating I'm not stating that you have to just watch us. And I'm not stating, or Chuck isn't stating, that Couch Collectibles doesn't actually have videos out there that are really good. He's not stating that Daniel doesn't make videos that are really good. It's just be careful when you watch information to really understand what's going on. Think critically and do what you can to understand kind of the pretense for what that video is. If they talk around themselves in their video and somebody like Chuck is confused about watching a video about something he's technically wrote a book about, that's a problem. So just be aware of that, protect yourself, and let's go ahead and get to some of the questions. So I just wanted to thank you all for being here.
The first question that I saw in here, Hugh Smith asked, if he had a new variety, how could he get it verified? That's a really good question, because for the largest part right now, there don't seem to be very many active attributors out there for dye varieties. If you can get a photo that shows what you're trying to show, you can send it to me, and I'll put my email address in here in the chat, cd@coppercoins.com.
That's funny. I'm actually looking at one right now.
I'm throwing myself onto the altar for you guys to sacrifice. Throw me pictures of what you've got. Make sure they're clear. Make sure they're focused. Make sure that they are blown up enough to easily see what I need to see in order to respond to you and answer your question, and I will. Right now, I don't know how long.
Don't forget about your Discord.
About my, oh yeah, the Discord channel. Eric Maith isn't here to help me with that. I don't know how to link you.
Make sure that you have exhausted all other options first, though, that you have looked at the three major, Wexler's, Variety Vista, and Copper Coins. That you have scoured all the possibilities, and before you do
EMR. If I could give you a digital hug or a digital high five, I would. If you utilize this, listen and learn. Right? That's great advice, right? Be respectful, but listen and learn to what they have to say. If you're going to take them up on the opportunity to have them tell you what you have, be respectful. Okay? They don't have to do this.
And I can tell you right now, just as you're watching this, regardless of when you're watching this, if I respond to you and I give you an answer, I'm not guessing. I know what you've got. I know what it is. I've seen it. I've got the experience to understand what you're looking at, because I have seen it 1,000 times. If you think you found a new 1983 D RPM and I see a picture of a big pit next to your D, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. And it's not an RPM. So, I mean, there's a ton of them. Couldn't find my Discord anywhere on my channel. What channel? You talking about the YouTube channel? I did not give the Discord information there. I don't know how. I
will make sure that we get the invite link sent out, and I'll make sure that I put that in the description down below. We'll make sure we get everybody that information.
Show him also, when you get a chance, how to put it in his about page.
Oh, check that out. Jackalope already did it. So,
oh, nice. I have no idea what that says.
That's not.
I don't think that's. Let's see here if I can.
He's not a moderator, so he's not allowed to do it.
Yeah, and I simply I don't know how to do it because I don't use it very much. Invite people. Here it is.
But really, Chuck, you should have somebody show you how to put that on your about page, so that it'll, because you can have your Facebook page, your Discord, all of that linked with the links in your about page on your channel.
Well, for the general majority, I don't use Facebook much except in the Lincoln Cent Auctions group. I'm trying to revitalize that group and bring it back. So
I just use that as an example, like of things that you can link.
So people will put up stuff that I want to buy. But that's, let me see if I can try to.
Great Scott just joined the server. What's up, Great Scott?
I saw that.
I'm
getting all kinds of ding on my Discord.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, it's all good. It's not for everybody, but it is a great resource. And so if you have something, but again, make sure you're looking at the right one. Submit to the one that's fines on copper coins. I joined it.
I'm pretty sure I joined it. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Now, Paula, I want to say something. Chad Wolfen Hagenstaffen Havendorfendorf says that there's a lot of brilliant people. And he said that Paula blows my mind. I thought she knew something when I talked, but I know nothing. So he gave you a huge compliment. He's in the other chat. So
X in the mail.
But again, yeah, folks. And again, this is something that I've said this a number of times. There are some amazing ladies in our community who have a great breadth of knowledge. Please don't discount them. There's a lot. Unfortunately, it happens quite a bit in the hobby. But Paula and Amanda are two brilliant ladies. So,
but if you've ever heard me speak, you've probably heard me say much of what Chuck said today, and that's because I learned it from Chuck.
Oh, now you've done it.
We a lot of times, you know, when I talk about errors versus varieties and stuff like that, you'll hear Chuck's voice coming out of my mouth, because we share very, very similar, if not exact, like ways of thinking on things like that. And it's because Chuck was like one of the first people I learned from in this hobby. And we both learned from Alan Herbert. Like that guy is like, I mean, I recommend that book all the time. That book is by my side. So yeah. And remember, if you do send questions to Chuck, just remember there's a reason that you're sending him your questions. And most of the time it's because you don't know the answer and he does. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you feel like arguing. Chuck won't typically argue with you. He won't go do what I do and go back and forth for hours. He will just say, okay, good luck. Have a nice day.
And it's not because I don't care. It's because I don't care enough to try to sway you to my way of thinking.
Right.
You either see it my way or you don't. And if you don't, good luck to you, man. Go do what you do.
So Chuck, I do want you to know that YouTube me is listening. He's driving a truck right now. But
Okay.
he went and found one of your originals and is now reading your book.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me and he goes,
Nice.
There's a lot. I'm like, yeah, because it's a hard read. I'm like, well, it's not meant to be read. It's a resource. Like, don't read it cover to cover. Like, take something, look at it, understand what it means, and then go to the next part. Right. So
it goes both ways. That's kind of why I put it together like I did, because it is a read all the way through, or it's a look it up by date and just read the one date you want to read, or look at the pictures you need to look at. And I kind of designed it that way simply because I know some people like to sit down in a chair and read a book, and other people just want the facts, ma'am. And I kind of like to give the facts, ma'am, because that's the kind of books I like to read. So,
Chuck, I want your take on something.
Okay. You already got my head swelled up so big. I'm not going to fit it down.
The pressure release valve, Chuck, is right behind the lobe of your ear.
Don't hate me for this. Okay. I would like you to give everybody in chat your opinion on a coin is only worth
what someone is willing to pay for it.
Well, that's true. You can't make it more valuable than it is, and it is however valuable someone's going to give you money for it. You can ask whatever you want, but when it comes right down to it, if you can't find anybody to buy it, then it's probably not worth what you're asking.
So here's why I opened this can of worms.
Oh, okay.
If you are going to price a coin and you go and look up sold listings and somebody has a similar damaged coin that you have on eBay that sold for $200, does that mean that your coin is worth $200?
No, that gives you a lead point to consider. There are many other things to consider other than eBay. There are so many outliers on eBay that are outside of what normal price guides would show you or what normal dealers would show you.
Damage, exactly.
It's really hard to use sold prices on eBay as a definite value because
right. But did you hear when I said that it's a damaged coin? Someone paid $200 for a damaged coin. Maybe I'll word it differently. Somebody paid $200 for a damaged coin. Does that make that coin worth $200?
No, it doesn't. It makes it worth $200 to that one buyer because they don't know what they're looking at.
One buyer. Thank you. That was where I wanted you to get to with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, and you'll hear this in many, many, many different places. You'll hear it on coin channels that they have, like what's one of them, like QVC or something like that, right? Where they talk about, the value is what you're willing to pay. No, that is not. The price is what you're willing to pay. The value is associated with a whole bunch of other information. So don't get caught up in price versus value, right? Talked at the very beginning of this about understanding language, and it's a manipulation tool. Those folks who say, well, he's willing to pay that, it's got to be worth that. No. That's the price. And just because somebody's willing to spend that money, they may have no clue of its actual value. And you look at the manipulation, the guy that did people wrong, selling them gold coins and never took care of it. Or these people, and we see this, I will say CN, everybody knows what CN is. We see these fake coins coming out of here. Just because they look really good doesn't mean that they're worth the money that they're selling for. Just be aware. Just be careful with that, because that's
it's an argument we see often. It's an argument we see often when I see it a lot when people talk about selling machine doubled coins or or just damaged coins in general, or or coins that someone has for sale that are way overpriced. I will get that argument often. Well, that's because it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Well, you can look at it that way if you want to, but I want to give you the information so that you can make an educated you have an educated opinion on what what you're willing to pay for it.
Because so I'm going to do a call out real quick on somebody who does it right. Silver Seeker. Now, Silver Seeker, you go into his auctions and he's going to tell you this. If you want to find a good deal, this is probably not the place that you want to buy the coin from. Okay? Everything here, sometimes you get a good deal, but sometimes things go high just because people want to buy it from here. They enjoy the fun of the auction. They enjoy the fun of the run-up. Doesn't make it worth that. If you want to find a better deal, there are other places to go to. In fact, then he'll give you like SD Bullion. They're the sponsor. And oftentimes you can buy it cheaper from them. If you want a better deal, there's other places to go.
Southern Coin Hunter, I often recommend people use eBay sold listings. And here's why. It's not just eBay sold listing, but sometimes I'll have them go to past auction sales and everything. But eBay sold listings, if you know which ones to use and which ones to eliminate, right? You're always going to eliminate the ones that are just outrageous. If you are educated enough to where you know what the price point should be around, eBay sold listings are a good judge of what the market is doing at the time that you want to buy something or sell something. Because the market changes continuously. So you want current market. You want to know what the gray sheet's great, Numis Media is great. Sites like that are good, but they aren't the best judge of what the market is doing at the time that you want to look up the price. It could be higher, it could be lower. Now, Chuck may argue with me about that. We may have different opinions on that. But I think that eBay sold listings, for the most part, if you use enough of them to average out a price, is a good way to find pricing on something.
I don't argue with that at all. My argument is when people go into the sold listings for something and they find a sale that happened and they don't bother looking at whether or not the seller knows what they're talking about, don't bother looking at whether or not the item is actually what the seller said it was, and they only look at one transaction and say, oh, well, this is worth $50. Mm-hmm. Where if they look at other transactions, they'll see a bunched in a lot of groups of very similar items for a couple of dollars. Right. Or they'll see them where they don't sell for but 99 cents or something. They take the one auction that is the one you really don't want to use, and they use that one to determine the item's value.
Well, not only that, but I want to talk about how easy it is to manipulate that. Okay, folks, I want you to think about this. Mm-hmm. If you go look, and matter of fact, maybe I should just pull one up. I'll work on getting this up, and I'll show you an example of it. If you look at the bids, you're going to find that there's been 10 bids on a particular item. If there's always an upbid by the exact same person on every one of that channel's auction items, it's a good call. Normally they're going to be a shield bidder. Okay. But here's the thing about sold items on eBay. Okay. If you want to manipulate it, it's real easy. You call your buddy and say, I'm going to send you $300. I want you to buy this coin. They put a coin up that's a $10 coin. They buy it for $300. Now you have a sold listing verified by purchase on eBay for $300 for that stupid coin. And then you take your other ones and you say, look, this one's sold on eBay for $300. Don't necessarily use the highest bid on eBay. Look at an average. Take the cost average of those items and get an average over all of those values, because you're going to see something. We talked about this with the flowing hair. Okay. The flowing hair, when they first started being sold after the privy mark was found, were $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Now they're about $4,500. Right now, the price there is going to be $45, $35, $38, $39, $45, $5,100. Just because it once sold for $7,000 doesn't mean it's worth $7,000 now. So be careful when you're looking at sold listings on eBay. Yeah, Amy, that is not ethical. You're absolutely right. But people do it. Okay, so my point is, take a dollar cost per average. If you're looking at sold listings on eBay, take 10, 15, 20 items, do a dollar cost per average. Throw out the outliers. Throw the ultra low one out, throw the ultra high one out, and then take the dollar cost per average. That'll give you a better idea than if you try to just go through and say, hey, here's a couple listings, this is what it is.
Might I add two things to that?
Add 5 if you want. Okay.
The first of these being that actual items at auction can change in value over time. And NGC is a very good example of that. NGC at one point in time had a particular coin listed at $150. I sent in a whole bunch of them, and most of them came back with the grade that I was looking for. And I suddenly had a doubled number of the entire population in that grade. Well, when the population reports caught up and showed the coins I had graded, the value had gone down to $90. So you had a $150 value coin that went down to $90 because of new population. That can happen frequently, and it does. 20 years ago, people chasing top pop coins and top grade coins submitted a whole bunch of really nice rolls of Lincoln cents for higher grades so that they could start playing the top pop game and selling coins for exorbitant amounts of money because they were graded really high. Well, over the past 20 years, millions of coins have been submitted, and the price guides have changed because of that. Don't use a price guide that's 20 years old to determine the value of your coin today. Same thing, PCGS in the CoinFacts section under each grade for each coin will list top sales in PCGS holders and in NGC holders. Or it's actually more recent sales. Some of those more recent sales are 15, 20 years old. You have to look at that when you're trying to determine the value of a coin, because recency is one of the value determinants of coins. How recent are these sales? The other thing I wanted to add is that when you are looking at past eBay auctions for a coin you think you have, and you can't seem to find it. Oh, wait a minute. I found one. It was 65 days ago, and it's the only one on eBay that I can find that I can determine is what I'm trying to sell. That gives you reason to pause and drop back and say, is what I have really what I think it is? Because you may not have it. If it's a rare die variety, you may not have that die variety. If it's a rare kind of error, you may not have that rare kind of error. Or it could have been listed wrong to begin with. A lot of things come into this. There's a lot of things. If you're looking for the value of a proof 1993 S Lincoln cent that's raw, you're going to find 1,000 of them, no problem. But if you're looking for some particular errors or die varieties, you may find them extremely difficult to find. And if you've got one of them, God bless you. But chances are you don't.
And don't use the red book for prices.
Oh, God, no.
Okay, don't do it. You'll hear people say that. I hear people say that all the time. Well, I'll just use the red book that tells you done. Don't use that for. Utilize the red book for base information, right?
Can I expand on that for just a second?
No,
absolutely.
So,
just kidding.
The biggest reason why the red book is not a great pricing guide is because most people don't know how to grade their coins. You have to know how to grade your coin at least with a relative amount of accuracy.
At least get close.
Yeah, at least get close before you can begin to price your coin. And the red book does not offer enough, from good to all the way up to 70. And sometimes one grade can make a huge difference in price.
Oh, yeah.
So it's too basic. There's not enough information. And most people who use the red book don't even have an idea what they want to go right to the highest grade. They'll go skip right to 65. They'll go right to MS 65 and they'll start from there.
Oh, it says these are worth up to $10,000. I'm going to give you a discount. Mine must be 9,000.
Right. Exactly. So if I can offer you guys any advice when it comes to that kind of stuff, one of the best tools for pricing your coins is learning to grade them. So at least start there.
I'm going to share something real quick. This has got to. I need to send this to Jack Young. I also want you guys to be aware of stuff like this. Can anybody tell me what the problem with this is?
Yeah.
I can barely see it.
Look at it for a minute. I just don't say anything, panel. Okay, in chat. Look at this. Can anybody tell me What's wrong with this listing?
There's several things I can.
Yeah, I'm going to actually copy this URL and send this to Jack. Come on, folks.
Well,
hey, Stack-Ann, how you doing?
So I don't know. I don't know if you watched Sean's last video, but Sean actually did a video on this seller and certain listings that just came out yesterday. So
yeah. So again, Sean did one on this particular seller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the number of feedback.
And there's many of them. Yeah.
They have 14, 19, 21 piece dollars. Really? Holy cow.
Oh, and at our best offer.
And at $22. Hey, folks, if the offer's too good to be true, it probably is. But let's look at some of the things that are wrong with this particular coin. Do you see the piece at the bottom? All right, let's zoom in a little bit. What do you see wrong with that piece there?
It's not spelled P-I-E-C-E.
Piece of. But one thing I will warn you with these types of listings is because they are not selling you the coin that they are showing. Oftentimes they will have a real coin in the photographs.
But this ain't a real coin.
And it doesn't mean that that's the one, because you're not going to get the one that they have photographed, especially if they have, multiples available.
Yeah. So again, folks, if you see something where it's a key date and somebody has multiple 14, they have 14 of them. There's a guy in here, Vote for Pedro, that I know loves peace dollars. Recently just picked up another one. Him and I talked about it. This is a guy who actually likes this year. He doesn't have 14 of them. So this coin channel, again, it's like, really? But the piece is not right. So if you look at the piece on this particular coin, it was a little bit more flat. So it's not as pronounced. But again, to have 14, 14 sold, has 2 more available. Again, folks, right? Like, think critically when you're looking at these things. The other thing that I'm going to ask you is this. Yeah, 0 next to the name. Yeah, that's what I said. 0 feedback. That's a huge issue.
No feedback.
The other thing is when you see this kind of stuff, okay, send it to me, send it to Paula, send it to Eric, to Chuck. We'll get it in the hands of people like Jack Riley, Jack Young, so they can work their magic and get these things removed, get these things delisted. It's yeah, exactly. A 1921 piece dollar at below melt. Exactly. Yeah, ironic. But again, do the due diligence, right? So this is where I'm not the expert. I'm not the person who I know this coin. I love this coin. I actually just purchased one from
extra
Ashes.
fine.
In XF. Yeah.
Sorry, Chuck. Extra fine.
I think he just threw up in a little bit, but again, folks, the thing that we want to do is we want to be a resource for you. Okay, this is the big piece. So when you find stuff like this, let us know. We can get it into the hands of the people who can actually make a difference and get these things removed. Right? This is how we're going to protect and help our hobby. Now, can we get them all? No, there is no way to resolve all of these. There's way too many. But in the story of the starfish, if you guys have never heard that story, a young girl and her mom are walking on the beach, and thousands of starfish are laying on the beach. And the girl picks one up and throws it in there, reaches down, picks another one up, throws it in the water, reaches down, picks up another one, throws it in the water. And her mom's like, stop. You can't take care of them all. And she says, looks at her mom and she goes, no, but I can take care of the one. I can make a difference for that one. And so that's what we want to be here. We want to make a difference for you. We want to be able to help you to enjoy this hobby as risk-free as is possible. Now, there was a question earlier about, has anybody on panel been scammed? Yes, I have twice. I know people in chat that have been scammed. In fact, I've gotten coins from a couple people that people have gotten that are fakes that I have received and forwarded on to Jack Young so that they can look at them and they can see them. Mine was a 1973 or 1873 peace dollar or trade dollar, trade dollar. That was the key year. I was looking for it. I thought the price was right for me, and I bought it. And there were all the signs that it was wrong. I just didn't know them. I was very, very green in this hobby. Very, very green when I first started. And I utilized that not to say, well, you know, I'm an idiot, but hey, we all make mistakes. Now, recently, I picked up one. Now, I bought this not because I was fooled, but I bought it because of it being a scam. And the person who had it didn't necessarily know that it wasn't what it said it was. But I wanted to utilize it as an example. And that was the coin that I showed. I think it was last week or maybe the week before, which was the slab that was, let me grab it real quick. I have it sitting here. It was the slab that was done by this one right here. You guys are looking at my, oh, I got this up. Let me shut this down. Oh, God, Eric said Temu. Yeah, but don't ever buy from Temu, folks. It's this coin right here. Okay. Now, this is the SEGs. This is the SEGs holder. We talked about this one last week. I know this isn't the, it's a good coin. It's a real coin, but it's not what it says it is. Now, I purchased that because I didn't want that other person to get scammed. Now, it wasn't an expensive coin. I spent 65, 70 bucks. It's only worth about 40, not a big deal. But I know people that did this. I bought this because I wanted to utilize it as an example. Say again?
Your camera has a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have a seizure.
I hate it when it does that. There we go.
I know they all do that. Weird.
And there was that key date nickel that I was talking about, because you asked the other day if anybody collected nickels. I do. I'm one of the weird ones. But
no, you're not weird. And listen, I'm gonna go a little off just real quick second. Nickels are there's nothing wrong with nickels. Just because I have a problem with them doesn't mean that you can't love them. I just don't. They're just not my favorite. And I'm talking about Jefferson nickels. I love buffalo nickels, but and they are actually when I talk to people who want to get their kids involved, I tell them that Jefferson nickels are a great place to start because they're one series that is easy to get the fill a book from pocket change or from
unless your kids are allergic to nickel.
Unless they're allergic to nickel. Well, there's that. Oh, that thing is, you talk about throwing up in your mouth a little bit. That's going to make me do it right there. But,
oh, it's a lovely coin, Chuck.
Anyway.
Oh, my 1955 double die.
Oh my gosh, I love that one. That's just beautiful.
Oh God, there's so much wrong with that.
So much
this
wrong with
is
it.
off the NGC website, actually. It's
yeah. Is that the one they
submitted-
use as like the comparison as a counterfeit?
If you need this to compare,
Right.
you should probably be in a different hobby.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Every time I see that, I giggle a little bit. I'm like, okay, you couldn't have found a better, like, anyway.
So, Michael Wells, I've been saying that for a very long time. If you want to collect a set of anything, nickels are a great one to do because you can get the key dates at a really good grade. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to collect the entire Jefferson nickel set at MS66. All graded. And so it's something I want to do. It's just kind of one of those things. And you can find even this one right here, which is the MS66 with full steps. It's still only $125, $150 coin. So you can get really good quality coins. Now, if you want to go back and collect Buffaloes, it's going to be a different story trying to get everything at 66. But again, there's a lot of great items. Oh yeah, the SEG.
There's one for you.
You guys know what SEG stands for?
No.
Shit, eat, and grin.
That one just showed up on Facebook. Yeah, that one just showed up on Facebook yesterday.
Yeah, that's the shit, eat, and grin.
Oh, isn't that cute? Look how big that mint mark is.
Yeah. Isn't that cute?
Oh, yeah. So
2 different directions too.
Okay, so let's that is a really good statement, Paula. Can we actually explain what you mean by that? That was a really good statement.
What statement? Which
2
one?
different directions.
2 different directions.
Mansplain it. I'm sure you're capable.
You've got clockwise and you got counterclockwise.
The liberty's going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So, but let's break that down into simple terms. Okay, so what we're talking about here is if you have a doubled die, the doubling's only going to occur in one direction, unless, well, that's not necessarily true.
Well, if it had multiple hubbings and the hubbings were in different directions, but that's not the case here.
Yeah.
Don't get confused.
So the thing you're looking at is when you look at this particular one, everything on In God We Trust is to the right, but liberty is to the left. That's never, ever, ever going to happen on this classification of double die. Liberty should be above.
I'm still trying to convince the person that it's not real.
Yeah.
Really?
Chuck would have gave up a long time ago. I didn't learn that lesson from Chuck.
Right.
Hey, Collector Invest, what's going on?
Better than I used to be, but I haven't learned that lesson.
Well, the one that I always like is, you guys remember my peace dollar? The 1796 peace dollar?
Oh.
Oh, geez.
First one ever minted.
But yeah, well, Chuck, you have your, and we went through this before. There was actually one where we talked about this. You have a 58S, right? 58S Lincoln cent in part of your counterfeit collection?
He has all of those.
It's a 1922S.
Right, 1922S.
He has all of those.
Yeah, and so it's insane to look at some of these. Yeah, just a lot of fun. Tell the person to send it to PCGS.
Well,
they make that decision on their own, right?
I'm fairly convinced that probably the majority of the people that post these know that they're not real. They're just fishing for suckers to sell them to.
They're trolling.
Yeah, I'm fairly convinced that that's the case.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is where, and I'm going to go back to the one channel. Now, I've got to tell you, the Coin Channel Tube, the dude is brilliant when it comes to marketing and the way he does stuff. He's really good with spinning a tail, but he will take the oddity that's wrong. You guys know how I feel about Bullion Shark. They're liars. They're manipulators. They use people. They twist the truth in order to sell, just because they want to increase the social media presence. They are a irrepute company. I can't stand them. I even had somebody on Midnight Joe who they took her video and manipulated it to make her look like an idiot. It's been since removed, but she's got like almost 3 million views of people understanding that this stuff is there.
So
Coins
Frostbyte,
like this,
that brings up a good point real quick. That brings up a good point. When you were asking, why would somebody buy subscribers? Why would they do that? Let me tell you. So people, advertisers, they look for these channels with a high subscriber count. And that Eric Miller, that Coin Channel Tube dude, and all of these other ones that use this clickbait stuff that have a high subscriber count, they often will get advertisers and paid advertisement on their channel and stuff simply because they have that high subscriber count. And I'll give you a perfect example. We just got we get offers all the time in our email from people wanting to advertise. They think that they're emailing Sean, Blue Ridge. They're actually emailing LivePoint. We know that they're not asking us. They're not asking to advertise on our channel. They're asking to advertise on Sean's channel. And it's because of the subscriber count, not the content. So anyway, that played into a little bit of what we were talking about, and a little bit of, what Chuck went through with some of these channels that have a higher subscriber count. Oftentimes their subscriber count is not
genuine.
It's not.
Well, we've seen recent events of this in our community. With channels gaining
the growth is not
thousands of subscribers every week, and then all of a sudden, when they hit a milestone, it stops.
All you have to do is look at Chuck's channel. Chuck has been on a long time. There is, if it was just for the quality of the content, Chuck would have 1 million subscribers. It is not, his subscriber count is very natural. It's the way probably most channels should be. And it's because he offers educational content. And let's face it, that is not what a lot of people in this hobby want to listen to.
Yep.
They want just pure entertainment value. They want 30 seconds. We're in this 30-second attention span generation. And
2.3 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the latest medical review on social media, is that you have 2.3 seconds to gain somebody's attention before they swipe away.
Well, that in actual subject content, the actual way to get subscribers is to have a lot of videos. It doesn't even matter what you're doing. You could be clipping your nails.
So EMR is starved for attention, Chuck.
He is entertaining, Eric. EMR, Eric. He is entertaining.
I'm fighting here. I've got things going on I can't seem to figure out.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to bring up my my camera, and I can't do it. I've got it. That's not EMR, star for our attention. I find Chuck very entertaining.
He is entertaining.
Entertaining. Is it like clown entertaining, or is it or is it entertaining because you actually like listening? I've heard some people have told me that my voice is easy to listen to, and so they like to listen to no matter what I'm saying. They like listening to it, which that's fine, whatever. I prefer that the information be correct, though. So.
No, and again, vote for Pedro, and I've talked to you about this. You know this. You have a voice for radio. You have one of those voices that's nice and easy to listen to. I have a face for radio.
Oh, brother.
Face for radio.
Sorry. Come on, it's a dad jokes. That's what I do.
You should do an audio. You should do Alan Herbert's book in audio form.
No, read the whole book.
Well, at least the minting process part.
Do I have to?
I don't think I've ever read an entire book.
Well, I'm sure you have read the entire book, maybe not as it's intended to be read.
Well, yeah, in 78 settings backwards.
Yeah.
I still can't figure this out. This is
Eric is like, I like it when you do hunts in your wildlife documentary voice.
Oh
my gosh.
Wildlife documentary voice.
Oh, too much fun.
We're crossing the Nile in this. I just had this what was the guy's name that did Wild Kingdom? Something Perkins.
Marlon Perkins.
Marlon Perkins.
Jim's in the water fighting off the Nile crocodile.
I had Jim jump into the water. No, he's talking about the David Attenborough thing.
Bifrost, what's up, sweetie? I'll be leaving here in just a minute to come up and pick you up. My daughter's in chat. Oh, by the way, while we're talking about it, I want to do a plug. She had issues with her site. And so if you're a subscriber to Bifrost Artworks 801, I want you to go sub up to Bifrost Artworks 49. We had to rebuild her site. She's moving videos over. So if you would please go over and sub up. Also, I'm creating a new site. It's already up. It's called Witticism. And it is all dad jokes and puns and fun. Please go check that out. I'm going to continue to do some jokes here, but I'm going to turn this channel into what it's designed for. Numismatics, talk about coins and stuff like that. I'm going to leave that other channel for the real witty jokes and satire and stuff like that. So go check that out. It's at Witticism. It's kind of just a play on words and a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun, but go check that out.
Coin roll hunting should be for fun. Absolutely, collector invest.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This whole hobby, if you're not doing it, if you're not having fun doing it,
you're doing it
then
wrong.
you probably should find something else to do.
Hold on, Chuck. I'm pulling you up.
Because
I'm
it
trying
should
to
be
get it
fun.
to focus.
And the more knowledge, believe it or not, the more knowledge you have, the more fun you're going to have.
Is this an authentic one?
Yeah, it's an authentic 1921 CC Morgan dollar. The first one struck. I can't get it to focus because I can't get the right camera to show up.
Do you not have your scope on?
Well, I was trying to get my other camera to show up, and it just...
Your camera's kind of blurry, and you've got some internet issues, I think.
I know, that camera sucks. I need to get a better camera. But so let's see if I can bring...
Great Scott, this is... This is the new link. So put that on there. Again, if you were... put that up there. That's Bifrost. Yeah, you're all good. Go sub up to that one. That's the one that we need to rebuild. So I appreciate you guys for doing this. I'm seeing it's already growing, so I appreciate you guys. But yeah, let's update that. I'm going to I need to connect with you, Great Scott, and start doing some of those exclamation point Bifrost, exclamation point. I need to do all of those. So
the commands, yeah.
Yeah, so stay on me so that I can do those. And that'll make it easy. Say again?
Yeah, it's my 1921 CC dollar.
You're rich.
Yeah, right? Well, I also have a, what do I have? A 1904 CC. I have a 1901 CC. Yeah, you want to see something funny. Okay. I'll show you something funny. I've got like 300 fake or altered coins, 300 or 400 of them.
Thanks, EMR.
I purchased every single one of them, so I guess I got ripped on all of them. But check this out. This one's actually almost believable. Hang on, let me get it set up here.
I don't know if Chuck's having like internet issues or what, but you're...
well, every time I look away from my camera or I look away from my microphone, I don't make a whole lot of noise.
43D.
Mm-hmm.
That weighs 3.1 grams, folks, and it is non-magnetic.
Hey, is there a like a little dye chip in the wheat stock on the back? In the looking at you, it would be the left wheat stock. It would be the right.
Looking at me.
Yeah, by United, is there like a little dye chip? I can't tell from your camera. I can't tell.
I can't either. Let's see. Let me bring it up to this level and see.
There's
you should be able to change your camera.
There's a couple known dye markers on those dye struck counterfeits.
Where is the U? There it is.
Oh, thanks, Victoria.
The U and over by the U.
Yeah, around there.
Well, there's a die chip. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
It would be at the edge where the field meets it. So I don't see it. So that's not okay.
Yeah, Mike, he's got it as a sub camera. I can't expand his sub camera.
What, you want me to make it bigger? Is that what we're talking about?
Indeed.
That's what she said. Sorry.
There you go.
Indeed.
I've gotten really bad about that. I need to get out of that habit. I said that in front of my grandkid the other day.
What is that?
That's what she said. My daughter-in-law about snapping my head off. She said, "Grandma."
Now, see, that's my 43 bronze. Now, taking 43D bronze, and look how almost believable this looks. I mean, it's not bad. In fact, I saw this, and if I hadn't known it was a Chinese fake, I might not believe it, because this weighs 3.1 grams. It's the right weight for a U.S. Lincoln cent.
That's what I've been having to tell people, because people say, does it stick to a magnet? If it doesn't stick to a magnet and weighs 3.1, you've got $1 million coin there. I'm like, no, not necessarily.
This is my 1943 plain bronze.
Oh, that date's so wonky.
That's the typical.
Yeah. This is wonky city here, and hardly have any detail on the reverse. But why the D mint is so nice and the Philadelphia mint is kind of horrible is a testament to lack of quality control. Even in making counterfeit stuff, your quality control needs to be similar to the mint that you are copying.
But we don't want them to be.
Right, but I mean, if I had to teach them how to do it right, I think we would have a lot more difficulty in telling the real ones from the fake ones.
And I think it's going to get to that point.
There you go. 1922 S with a die chip on the mint mark.
Lovely.
Even the 22 looks almost right. I mean, it gets really thin and wiry out toward the rim. It's
lovely.
Well, it's relatively close, except for the fact that there is no such thing as a mint mark, S mint mark on a 1922 cent. But
that's right. Philadelphia and San Francisco did not mint that year.
Right. Only Denver. But yeah, I have an entire book of fake stuff.
We need to go through those again. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fake clipped buffalo nickel you bought. Really, Southern Coin Hunter, I'd love to see a picture of that. Did he know that it was not real? And how do you know it's not real? I would love to see that. Careful. Anyway.
And if you say, well, that's too common, they're not going to fake that.
Oh, they fake everything.
Yeah, this is a fake Chinese coin. This is not a real Lincoln cent. There are a number of ways that you can tell, but the first way is that everything's kind of just a little grainy. And the other way is that the from addressee was in China. That kind of helps. But yeah, this is 3.1 grams. Fake as the day is long.
It's pretty scary.
Yep.
Right.
And they're getting better. That's the sad part.
Well, they are.
It is a sad part. That's one thing I talked to Jack about, what a conundrum. We do videos on the counterfeit stuff, and are we teaching the counterfeiters,
Yeah, we'll give it 10 years too. The technology, like I said, there'll be a time where you'll be able to have a home laser map scanner. That will be perfect. I mean,
at what point, are you no longer teaching the collector, but you're teaching the counterfeiter? Where's the balance there? So.
Right. And so this is a real Lincoln cent. It's just
the 4 has been scratched off.
Yeah, It's just not a 1912D.
Yeah. You see that by the big
I have
space.
a lot of these. I have a lot of these. And
you see that
most
with
people are
14
gonna
as
look,
well.
They're going to look at the 14Ds. They're not going to look at the 12Ds. You know, it's like, who's going to fake a 12D in this condition anyway? I mean, it's like a $5, $10 coin. The amount of time they spent creating this alteration was a lot more than the value of the said real version of this alteration. It's really kind of strange. But
they not really, Hugh. That's a problem, because there are counterfeit coins in real PCGS slabs and NGC slabs, and they're all, oh boy.
So some of these are so bad you can't help but laugh.
Right.
The a la 1955 double die that everybody tries to sell.
Yeah.
There's a whole family of those off-center fakes.
Yeah, and there's a whole new market of fake errors and fake varieties. So you got to be very careful.
Those are the one that the one he showed previous to that was an altered coin. This one is a true counterfeit coin. When he talked about in the beginning the difference between altered and counterfeit, it is an important distinction.
Flip back to altered. This is a real 1909S with a very horribly added VDB.
VDB.
The VDB initials are not real on this one.
They're off center too.
They're
supposed to be.
But if you look at this, the one way that I used to tell that this is a real 1909S is
the mint mark.
The devil's in the details.
The little dot in the S in the mint mark position.
Nope. This is actually RPM number 2. It's an S over horizontal S.
There you go.
That only exists on the 1909S plane, not the VDB.
There you go.
Another thing with this particular design, I do believe, is on the reverse, the shape of the N.
It would not be a deep cut N; it would be a shallow N.
It wouldn't be the deep N; it would be a shallow N.
Can you zoom in a little bit and explain the deep and the shallow?
Well, I could, but I can't. I don't have a shallow end to really show you right now.
Well, you can just say at the top where on the left side of the end,
you can say it
meet up. It should
in the inside angles of the N,
join.
Where there is like a 30-degree angle on the field, on the inside of the N, on the left and the right side. Those would be very curved. They wouldn't have a sharp needle point like this does. And that would be the only design used on the 1909 SVDB Lincoln Sense. Let's see if I can find.
All in the name of greed, EMR. All in the name of greed.
And somebody screws up a $200.
I never would have caught that on that RPM.
Right?
I immediately flip it over and look at the N in United. That's always my first.
I did too, but when I flipped it back over,
you're like,
and I saw the mint mark. I'm like, oh my God, they screwed up a RPM to make this. That hurts.
That hurts. It does.
That hurts.
It hurts. It's painful.
Let's see. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Don't pay attention to me for the next minute and a half.
No attention in the man behind the curtain.
That's right. Don't look at him. Look at
folks,
me.
If you're just watching and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, please.
I am the Great Oz. Let's see here. I had a picture. Here we go.
I've heard this word since last night. Greed. Yep. Greed. That's it.
Well, a lot of people do think they're going to get rich quick here, so they do have to manipulate the odds.
Yep.
Right. What did I do? As soon as I'm trying to actually find stuff, that's when I can't find it.
Oh, always. Yep. Inevitably. And folks, if you're liking this, please make sure you're smashing that like button. I would appreciate it.
Here we go. I think I might have found it. Okay. There. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
I still see that 09S. There it is. Okay, there you go. There it is.
So there's your two different reverses. I called it the reverse type of 1909 and reverse type of 1910 because that's all I knew how to call it back at that time. But now there actually are RDV numbers for this. This is like wheat cent RDV1 and RDV2.
Yeah. RDV 001 and 002. Yeah.
But the basically what I'm talking about is let's see if I can make this where you can see my cursor. Can you? No.
Then I can see the arrows, though.
Yeah, you can see the arrows that are pointing. You can see that the inside curves or the inside points of the N and the E are curved on the one on the left, and on the right, they're squared off.
It's the first time I've ever seen the E. I never actually paid attention to the E in that one.
Oh, yeah. But also the T of United and a number of the other letters on the reverse are, they're just kind of wishy-washy, more artistic, more curved.
So those are Brenner versus Barber, right?
That's what some people think, but I'm not sure that's true.
Ish.
Yeah. I'm not sure who exactly created this.
It's a good possibility, though.
Folks, I'll get some good images of this and post it on the community page.
Yeah, I can send them to you.
They were best buds.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In case anybody didn't catch that or understand, Charles Barber and Victor Brenner got along only on a professional level. It was quite obvious that there were issues between them, and some of it may actually come out in the design of the Lincoln Cent. Here's one. This is, I've got this in plastic. Let me see how it looks. Down. Yeah, it's not all that pretty, but yeah, let me take it out of the plastic. You guys are worth that.
Ooh, I think I remember that one.
Destroy a 2x2. Why not? Here we go. That's a 1909 S with an added S mint mark.
Yeah.
If you look at a real S mint mark for 1909, the serifs on the top and bottom of the S should both point straight up and down. Whereas on this particular one, the lower serif is at a diagonal angle. That is not correct. That particular S design did not come out until the 1940s. What was it you said, Eric?
I said you got that a couple years back when you were down here, didn't you?
That's a really good question.
I think you got that one from John when you were down here visiting. He gave you one, and he said, if you ever find out it's real, give it back.
Oh, yeah. It might be that. I've got a dozen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very difficult for me to tell you which one came in when.
I just know he gave you one a couple years ago.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I may actually still have that one in the original stuff in the NGC rejection.
You're so much like me. I just sorted Fun Show finds from 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Here's another one I've never taken out of the plastic. Doing so now. I hate staples. Quit using these things, people.
I hate them too.
Here's a 1931.
They're not a bad company. They just don't belong in 2x2s.
They don't
Right.
belong in 2x2s.
Yeah.
I scratched a perfectly fine V-nickel live on camera.
Ouch.
Not something you want
and I'll
to
never
do.
live it down.
If anybody can tell me what's going on with this 1931 S Lincoln Cent, they win bragging rights.
I wish I could see it clearly.
Well, let me back
Your
up.
camera's pixelating online.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Is that clearer?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me flip it over. Oh, I just gave you a hint. This, ladies and gentlemen, is actually a 1936 S Lincoln Cent. The one is not sitting in the right place, and there are indications of metal movement all around that one, and that is because that is a reshapen 6. 1936. The 3 in 1931S is not that shape. It's supposed to be different.
I know, Victoria, that was terrible.
Since I'm not actually doing a class on this at the moment, I don't happen to have a real one to show you. But that's my 1936 S 1931 S.
Jeez.
I had counterfeit written on that. That's not counterfeit though. That's an alteration.
Well, hey, folks, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping stuff up. I have got to go pick up my
Have a great weekend, you guys.
All
Talk
right.
to you later. See you later.
Thank you so much for being here.
I think
Appreciate you.
Eric's going to show you a coin, Chuck. I would like your opinion on it too.
Okay. Let me see if I can find out how to get back to that screen.
Okay. All right, you guys. But well,
All right, I'll send you the pic, Chuck. I'll see you. I'll talk to you in a few.
Okay. Sounds good, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, folks. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming in. Chuck, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming up and hanging out and talking today. Kind of just going through the information, the correction on many of the terminologies that were used. That was extremely important. So, folks, if you missed the first part of that, go check out the first part of this. Again, a lot of great information. I don't expect you guys to remember everything, but thanks a ton for coming up and hanging out. I always enjoy having you up on the panel.
Well, thanks for having me here.
What you got going on today, tomorrow, Monday for Copper Coins?
Let's see. Today I've got a couple of reveals that I'm going to do. Plus, I'm going to create a brand new video on the 1988 transitional reverse Lincoln Cents. And then today and tomorrow, this evening and tomorrow, both football days. They're very important to me. So Monday, we're going to have a reveal show where we're going to sell reveals for the next week. And then Tuesday, there'll be an auction. So we're going to have a pretty loaded week.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Folks, again, coppercoins.com if you want to go look at resources, and then it's at Coppercoins on YouTube. Reminder, at Witticism, that's my new dad joke. Go check that out. I'm loading a couple jokes every day just to get that up and running. Lots of funny stuff. I'll still tell jokes and I'll still post occasional ones here on this channel, but I really want this channel to be focused on coins and then the other one be focused on dad jokes. So go check out at Witticism. It should be really nice scripted lettering. You'll see that. Tiger Stacker and I are doing Stack Collector, so be aware of that. That's going to be coming up here. The first part of February will be our first episode. And again, you guys, Bifrost, go check out at Bifrost Artworks 49. If you're a part of the Bifrost Artworks 801, change the 801 to 49. You have her new channel. Go sub her up. All right, Chuck, I appreciate you, brother. And folks, you guys take care. And you know what? I will see you guys in the streams. Be well, be blessed all. Have a good weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.